for pressure, but it's obviously it's for pressure somehow. So the question is, okay, so let's just slowly move into that direction. Before we get to that point, let's conclude the previous discussion that we had. All right, so you got regular Coke, one place in water, it's gonna sink to the bottom and remain at the bottom of water. Diet Coke, one place in water, is gonna float to the surface. Both of them are 12 ounces and they have the same volume. If both of them are 12 ounces, if they have the same volume, you know they should have the same density, right? Yet you notice that the Diet Coke floats to the surface. So why then does Diet Coke float to the surface, if that's the case? So that's one of the observations. That
the idea being that if you sit there, you relax.
So you find yourself in a sinking car. What's the best thing to do? Common sense will say you have to wait until the pressures are equalized. Is that the best way to, is that the best solution to this problem? What do you guys think?
No.
All right, Lorena, you said no. Why did you say no?
Because in the video, when they were waiting, the water was already like drowning them in, and it was harder to open the door. So if you react fast enough, maybe it helps more.
All right, I'm gonna give you 5 points for that one. If you can get to the door immediately, you may be able to open it, right? If you can get to the window immediately, you may be able to open it. Once the car is submerged, until the pressures are equalized, you're not gonna be able to open that door. So if that's the case, waiting, is that the best option?
But you won't know when the pressure, like, they're both equal, so you don't know how long you'll be waiting.
Haley, I'm gonna give you 5 points for that one. Yeah, guys, it may be 30 seconds. If that's the case, you're fine, right? You may be able to wait for a minute, possibly a minute and a half, possibly 2 minutes. But what if it takes about 4 minutes? What if it takes about 10 minutes for the pressures to equalize? I end up checking the numbers on Wikipedia, my favorite source. Evidently, you cannot hold your breath. Most people cannot hold their breaths more than 2, 3, or 4 minutes. In fact, if there's no oxygen going to the brain after 4 minutes, it can potentially kill you, or you could be brain dead. So if it takes 6 minutes, you're out of luck. All right, so it may take a lot longer than you expect. So the waiting around for the pressures to equalize may not be the best thing to do. So if that's the case, what is the best thing?
Max. You conserve your energy and therefore your air. You'll be able to apply your energy when you need it, right at the last minute when the car's equalized, and there's not going to be any problem getting out of it, instead of sitting there fighting the whole way and then you drown.
Let the car fill up. Let it settle on the bottom. Then casually open the door and swim to the surface. It's the maximum conservation of energy technique. It's very Jamie.
Gone through this before. Totally relax.
Adam centers himself inside the cabin. As the water level rises, he goes with the flow and serenely lets the car fill with water. He's under just as long as he was in the first test, but now he's not using up oxygen trying to yank open the door. The emergency air tank remains untouched. Now that's calm under differential pressure. When the cabin equalizes, he gently pushes open the door.
I survived! Woo! The Mythbusters technique worked! Woo! How many minutes was I down?
1 minute 37.
1 minute 37. I could have been down for another 15 or 20 seconds. That was beautiful. It was so, it was very cool. The longest period of time to actually for the car to level out. Once it did though, I still felt like I had plenty of breath. I just cracked the door, gave thumbs up to the camera, sauntered up to the surface.
Jamie has a final watery rumination.
So it took almost 2 minutes for Ford Tempo to equalize.
Of course, in the real world, this technique's a little more problematic.
The problem with this technique, it may take more than 2 minutes. It may take 3 minutes. It may take 4 minutes. You may be dead by the time the pressure is equalized. So this is not the best approach.
Everything's happening so fast, you don't know what the depth of the water that you're in is. Best is to open that window before you get water up to it.
So what's the best thing to do? As far as Jamie is concerned, the best thing to do, just open the window immediately. Notice that the car does not sink immediately, guys. It takes a while before the car starts to sink. So that's your window of opportunity, no pun intended. So just roll down the window.
Good.
All right. If you cannot roll down the window, obviously at some point you may have to break the window. So what do you need in order to break the window?
A gadget?
Yeah, you need to have that one of those, give yourself 2 points, one of those center punch devices, right? And I noticed that most people, including myself, don't have one. So that's going to be a problem. And if
No, you just use your headrest. All headrests are made to come off and break a window.
Or, like Joe said, I'm going to give you 10 points for that one. Use your headrest. Just pull the headrest out. The bottom of the headrest is extremely pointy, and then just rest it against the window and just break it with it. All right, Joe, that was a really good suggestion. All right, so that was the point that I was about to make, but Joe made that point. Joseph made that point.
Impossible to get an accurate read.
Open a window or get out? No, I can't. I can't. My car is sinking. Okay, I'm trenching.
Carla Gutierrez drowned. Her body was recovered the following morning. Tire tracks visible only by the light of day finally led police to her location.
Window or get.
It's kind of sad because she got the best advice. She got the best advice from a 911 operator. Operator said, open the window, open the window. That's your opportunity, open the window. And she decided not to. She didn't survive.
Out? No, I can't. I can't. My car is sinking. Okay, I'm trenching.
Carla Gutierrez drowned. Her body was recovered the following morning. Tire tracks visible only by the light of day finally led police to her location. At the time, 911 operators did not have specific instructions to tell motorists how to get out of a sinking car. Today, in part because of Carla's story, Miami police and many other departments across the country do.
Officer Wiggins has the final call on whatever's going on.
It's a Saturday morning on the banks of one of the thousands of waterways that crisscross the state of Florida. Miami police, who now do extensive training on submerged vehicle safety, have agreed to demonstrate how to get out alive. It's a daunting lesson that I'm about to receive, but one these police officials are convinced can save lives.
Or if we need to extract Mr. Sanchez, and we'll take him to fire rescue in the event he needs any medical attention.
This is one of those stories that really makes you fight your demons. My father always told me, if you're scared, just say you're scared. Guess what, folks? I'm a little scared. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get together with some of these dive masters and understand exactly what I'm supposed to do. Because once you're down there underwater, it's going to be a little too late.
As soon as the car hits the water, you have the seatbelt on. You want to get rid of that seatbelt as soon as possible.
Okay. To say that Miami police officer Julius Wiggins, who's also a dive master, is passionate about teaching people how to get out of a sinking car would be an understatement. His goal, to reach as many people with what he calls the basics.
Seatbelt first.
Okay.
Then unlock the car door.
Right.
Okay. Then roll down the window.
Okay.
And then start climbing out.
Okay, so what is it that he said which is actually wrong?
To roll down the window?
Okay, so rolling down the window is actually the right thing to do. You have to roll down the window. Okay, it's a couple of things. Number one, don't waste any time, guys. The window is your only escape route. and you have only limited time of opportunity. So what's the first thing you need to do? Make sure that your escape route is open, right? So what that means is roll down the window. Don't waste time. Roll down the window. That's the first thing you need to do. Roll down the window. All right, so that's your priority. Just roll down the window. Instead, here's what he said.
Would be an understatement. His goal to reach as many people with what he calls the basics.
Seatbelt first.
All right, seatbelt first. Don't waste time with the seatbelt. It's not the first. It could wait.
Okay.
Then unlock the car door.
You don't need to unlock the car door because you won't be using it.
Right.
Okay. Then roll down the window.
Okay.
And then start climbing out. Then what you're gonna do?
All right, so when do you roll down the window in reality?
The first step.
The first step is roll down the window. Don't waste your time. Roll down the window and then unbuckle yourself.
You're gonna work your way out here quick like this. Once you're sitting here, all you have to do is just push yourself off.
If ever there's been an appropriate use of the term dry run, this is it.
Car's gone in the water. Seatbelt first. Lock. Roll the window. Start climbing out.
Got it. And now, the real thing. The car plunges into the canal head first, then bobs back, allowing enough time to put the basic plan into action. With me inside the car, photographer Rich Brooks, who is a certified diver. From his pictures, you can see I'm working fast to take advantage of what is a perfect scenario. The car has leveled out, giving me time to open the window and get out before it sinks. However, on my second attempt, the car turns slightly, forcing the water in faster, slowing my exit. With the seatbelt off, the lock undone, the window rolled down, I take a final breath and climb out. My third attempt takes a bit longer, but I'm realizing window exits seem most effective. Whether it's a roll down or electric, it doesn't matter as long as you don't remove the keys from the ignition. Remember, even underwater, your battery will continue to operate the windows. What happens, though, if the window is stuck or for some reason simply isn't working? This window is being shattered underwater using a tool called a power punch that motorists are urged to buy and keep in their glove box. Now, the last dive, an attempt to get out through the door. From inside the vehicle, you can see how it looks when I leave the window rolled up. The water is now seeping in from elsewhere and quickly filling the cabin. I try to push on the door, but it seems jammed. Outside the car, divers are also trying to unjam the door to let me out, but are unable to do so. Admittedly, it's a chilling moment. I grab for the emergency air supply left in the front seat, rush it to my mouth, and wait nervously for the car to be hoisted out of the water, with me still inside, breathing, waiting, and with a much better understanding now of how important it is to know the basics, how to act fast, and how to get out alive. Rick Sanchez, CNN, Miami.
And again, power windows will work as long as the key stays in the ignition. The battery is going to keep that charging.
Exactly.
You know, just this morning in Ohio, 2 teens found themselves stuck in a sinking car. And according to WBNS, the 16-year-old driver was speeding, drove off the road into a water-filled quarry.
Yeah, they had to roll down the electric windows and swim to safety, just like you saw in that piece. Franklin Township Police, by the way, say the driver probably will be charged with failure to control a vehicle.
Okay, we want to switch gears.
There's usually enough